up on Newswatch how the shortage of the drug Ozempic is affecting Southeast Ohio.
Plus, a new jobs report shows companies laid off over 100,000 employees.
And in sports, the TVC Ohio crown is up for grabs in Pomeroy. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Emma Dollamere.
And I'm Joe Collins. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting Southeastern Ohio. The popularity of a diabetes drug to help with weight loss is impacting those who need it most.
Newswatch reporter Chloe G. Workman has more on the story.
Some of the highest rates of diabetes across the state, the nationwide shortage of the drug Ozempic is being felt in Southeast Ohio.
On an almost daily basis since November, I get messages that patients are unable to get their medications here locally. What should I do?
Popularized by social media, people without diabetes have been turning to the drug for weight loss.
Famous people are using these medications to lose weight off-label. They're getting it off-label because they can afford to pay for it without insurance, which is hurting people that rely on insurance to help them pay for these medications because they're expensive,
leaving many without the medications they need. This is true for people like Kashif Udine, who hasn't been able to get Ozempic.
You try to do your best, but I haven't been able to do that, and I figured that Ozempic would have helped out, but it's been a little bit challenging this semester.
With the shortage, people with diabetes are forced to try lower doses of Ozempic or even other drugs.
I've had patients tell me that the pharmacy, when their insurance wants them to be on a 90-day supply, they're only getting a 30-day supply. So the medication's getting rationed, and that's not just at pharmacies here. That's even from some of the patients we serve that go to the VA.
Drug makers claim they are addressing the issue by increasing production, but in the meantime, patients are left with few options. For Newswatch, I'm Chloe G. Workman in Athens.
The effects of going off of Ozempic can be harmful, and people with diabetes can try different medications for relief, but they are not made for long-term solutions.
Ohio University is receiving a grant to investigate using unmanned aircraft, better known as a drone, in Appalachian, Ohio. It would be used for delivering packages to homes, transporting patients to hospitals, travelers to airports, and more. Brett Lane from Ohio's Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Affairs says OU was approached by the Ohio Department of Transportation as part of its Fly Ohio initiative. Lane says this is because of its strong ties to local communities throughout Appalachian, Ohio, and its long history of community engagement. The Voinovich School plans on conducting a series of workshops or seminars around the region, showcasing electric vehicles, takeoff, and landing technology and its potential uses. A former Ohio Army National Guardsman is currently on 3 years of probation for threatening to crash a stolen plane into Anheuser-Busch beer plant on Columbus's north side. 26-year-old James Meade, the second of the Morgan County village of Chester Hill, allegedly planned this with another guardsman who was accused of threatening to shoot up a Columbus Jewish school. Meade pleaded guilty in December to one count of inciting to violence for posting the threats in an online chat filled with other guardsmen. Meade is also prohibited from using social media while on probation and must serve 200 hours of community service. Fellow Ohio Guardsman 25-year-old Thomas Devlin is charged in Franklin County Common Pleas Court with making terroristic threats. Now, Emma, as of late, it's been pretty chilly here in Athens.
It has been. I'm really tired of the freezing cold, but Newswatch reporter Isabel Isco joins us to look at your weather. Isabel, when can we expect some warmer weather here?
Well, definitely not this weekend. Right now, as you can see, that warm-up has been happening, but that's just for today. Right now for today, we're looking currently at about 34 degrees. We're mostly clear, that wind chill about 29 degrees. Definitely a warm-up from what we were feeling yesterday. Today, in our general area, we're feeling pretty comfortable, about 36 degrees and looking cold. Going into today, that temperature high, about 40. Definitely a warm-up that we needed for today. Our mostly cloudy skies definitely did put a damper, but that sun did shine some on us today. Looking pretty clear. That mostly cloudy skies definitely did go away, and we're feeling pretty good for the rest of the day. I know that sun was shining, and it felt like a beautiful winter day. Going into this weekend, we're definitely feeling we're not going to be feeling those precipitation. We're definitely going to be going clear, but clear does not mean warm. We're definitely going to be going very chilly for this weekend. I'll go more into that for my full weather. Back to the desk.
Thank you. The TVC Ohio girls title is up for grabs tonight in Pomeroy.
Hardwood Heroes reporter Aiden Crowley joins us live from Meigs High School, where two of the top teams in the TVC square off tonight.
Thanks, guys. As you can see behind me, things are starting to get popping here in Pomeroy for a game with history on the line. The Meigs Marauders take on the Nelsonville York Buckeyes with the conference championship up for grabs. The Buckeyes can lock up the sole possession of the TVC Ohio with a win, and if the Marauders can pull off the upset, it would create a three-way tie at the top. Meigs is chasing history. It's been 23 years since the Marauders won a conference championship, and you better believe head coach Heath Hudson has his girls ready to play. The Marauders are winners of 6 of their last 8, including a big win against the Athens Bulldogs last week. But the Buckeyes are the top dogs in the TVC. They already beat Meigs in December and haven't lost a conference game in over 2 weeks. But the people in Pomeroy will tell you this is a new Meigs ball club playing team-style basketball, capable of the upset and worthy of a share of the title. Let's take a look at how things shape up going into tonight's action. At the top are those Nelsonville York Buckeyes with a 10-1 conference record. Right on their heels are the Marauders and Athens Bulldogs, both with 2 conference losses. A Meigs win creates a 3-way tie at the top of the conference. Athens, Nelsonville York, and Meigs would share the title. The 3 teams traded wins and losses in their regular season games. The Bulldogs still have to take care of business, however, tonight against the Vinton County Vikings to earn their share. In the TVC Hockey, the Eastern Eagles play host to the Belpre Golden Eagles in the Nest. Eastern has won 7 of its last 8 games heading down the stretch. And finally, the Trimble Tomcats have nearly an hour bus ride to Waterford, to take on a tough Wildcat team. Waterford is the defending state champions and only have 1 conference loss against the top-seeded South Gallia Rebels. It should be a fun night here in Pomeroy and across the TVC, so make sure you stay up to date on your favorite teams. Follow us along at Hardwood Heroes on socials and stay tuned for Hardwood Heroes Sunday at 11 p.m. on WOUB. Guys?
Wow, it sounds like it's going to be an exciting game tonight.
It does. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Thanks, Aiden. Coming up after the break, Governor Mike DeWine releases the state budget for the next 2 years.
And a new job report shows U.S. companies laid off thousands of workers. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
The war was declared in April 1917, and there was a need for encampments. Camp Sherman, close to 10,000 acres. It pulls a large number of men in. There's close to 2,000 buildings. There's this connection between the city of Chillicothe and what was happening at Camp Sherman. It's such an important piece of our history, and boy, when you're in Chillicothe, you really feel that.
In West Africa, astronomers are on a mission.
This is very important.
If you don't get the data at the right second, you don't get the data ever.
Discover a history of African astronomy.
Wow, it's incredible.
And one scientist's dream for the future.
I believe space is for everyone.
Star Chasers of Senegal on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
He was bigger than boxing.
Muhammad Ali was the most important man in the world.
He was larger than life.
His magnetism just was amazing. Who is this guy?
He was a revolutionary. He was a groundbreaker.
What are they going to say about that now, huh?
Ken Burns captures an intimate story of victory, defeat, and determination.
The price of freedom comes high. I have paid, but I am free.
Muhammad Ali, only on PBS.
Thursday at 9.
On Secrets of the Dead, human remains are found in Queens, New York.
We're dealing with an African-American woman. She died over 150 years ago.
Neglected history is revealed.
It's really important that we create this rich and diverse tapestry of 19th century African-American life.
And a local community comes together.
Her life is a testament to our life.
The Woman in the Iron Coffin on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back. Ohio's two-year state budget is officially out to the public.
Governor Mike DeWine previewed the budget yesterday, saying this $87 billion plan is a fiscally responsible one. As usual, Medicaid is the biggest chunk of the budget, but Budget Director Kim Uranek says spending will slow after the federal COVID public health emergency ends this spring. The plan also includes one-time investments such as $2.5 billion for large economic development sites throughout the state. DeWine's budget also includes ongoing commitments such as the two-year-old Fair School Funding Plan and an expansion of income-based ed choice private school vouchers.
The first jobs report of 2023 comes out tomorrow, which will indicate the strength of the U.S. jobs market. Meanwhile, Washington is battling over whether or not to raise the debt ceiling before the U.S. potentially reaches default this summer. Gloria Pazmino helps us understand it all.
I will say that it is gratifying to see the disinflationary process now getting underway, and we continue to get strong labor market data.
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates again Wednesday by 0.25 percentage point, marking the lowest rate hike since last March, signaling perhaps their aggressive hikes are working to calm inflation. But on Friday, they will be watching the first U.S. jobs report of 2023 to see how the labor market is responding.
Particularly, we're going to be watching the average hourly earnings because that's going to give us a clear indication of whether or not wage pressures are coming down, even as the labour market stays very tight. If they are able to bring down wage pressures fairly well, whilst the labour market stays strong, that means that they can potentially achieve this soft landing that they've been aiming for.
But there is another cog in the economic wheel, the debt ceiling. President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy are both signaling optimism that their two parties can come together long before the U.S. reaches default in June.
I think at the end of the day, we can find common ground. I really do.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned if an agreement is not made to raise the debt ceiling, the Fed won't be able to protect the economy.
There's only one way forward here, and that is for Congress to raise the debt ceilings, and any deviations from that path would be highly risky.
In Atlanta, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
Layoffs are on the rise, especially in the tech industry. A new report released today shows U.S. companies cut nearly 103,000 job cuts in January. Around 40% of those cuts came from tech firms. Others came from retailers, real estate, and construction companies. The report from employment firm Challenger Gray and Christmas says that the worst January since the Great Recession. Analysts say some companies are correcting for hiring too many people during the pandemic. But in general, the job market remains very strong. Unemployment is near a 50-year low, and the jobs report coming out tomorrow is expected to show 215,000 new jobs were added during the same period. Today's job reports come after the Fed raises interest rates for the 8th time in
a small step toward normal. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve slowed the pace of interest rate. A small step toward normal. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve slowed the pace of interest rate hikes.
Over the past year, we've taken forceful actions to tighten the stance of monetary policy. We've covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our rapid tightening so far are yet to be felt.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell announcing a quarter-point increase, the 8th back-to-back interest rate hike in 11 months.
This likely will be one of the last interest rate hikes the Fed puts forward this year before engaging in a strategic pause.
Economist Joe Brusuelas says this week's move means the central bank is returning to a more traditional and gentler pace of increases, citing a slowdown in inflation in recent months, along with consumer spending and hiring. Last year's painful interest rate increases, which included 4 consecutive 3/4-point hikes, raised the overall economic pain for Americans and ticked up borrowing costs.
Which will make anything for Americans that relies on credit just a little bit more expensive.
While this latest increase is modest compared to a 0.5 point in December, economists say it could still impact the labor market. Brusuelas says the Fed's repeated action to restore price stability translates into lower sales and profits and typically results in a higher unemployment rate.
We're expecting an increase in unemployment primarily in the housing sector, with some unemployment in manufacturing and across some portions of the service sector, like retail.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
The Fed is targeting the hikes in order to bring down inflation, considering it's still running near its highest level since the early 1980s. A deadly winter storm continues to make its way across the country. That story is still ahead.
Those cold temperatures have definitely been affecting our winter weather and those flights coming up, but right now we could feel that cold temperatures are making our way through this weekend. For more from Newswatch, make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube.
He was bigger than boxing.
Muhammad Ali was the most important man in the world.
He was larger than life.
His magnetism just was amazing. Who is this guy?
He was a revolutionary. He was a groundbreaker.
What are they gonna say about that now, huh?
Ken Burns captures an intimate story of victory, defeat, and determination.
The price of freedom comes high. I have paid, but I am free.
Muhammad Ali, only on PBS.
Thursday at 9.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of stock is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
Black Americans created a world on the other side of the color line, a world behind the veil.
Black people create spaces where we can be seen by each other.
Sometimes you just want to celebrate how dope it is to be black.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the President of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
Hello again, I am Isabel Isco, and going into our weekend, well, our Thursday, we've been pretty clear here in Ohio. You can see those clouds are coming in from both sides, but we've been pretty clear. Looking right now, these are our temperatures from yesterday, definitely feeling really cold, really miserable. Now going into today, we're having that warm up. I can see those temperatures about 36. I know today we reached about 40. Those from both sides are coming in, but we're looking clear. Right now, well, go back, mostly cloudy, but we're at about 40. Definitely a warm up compared to yesterday. That temperature low about 18, we're definitely going to be seeing tonight. About 16 degrees. If you're going out there, please make sure to bundle up. It's going to be feeling pretty cold, especially going into tomorrow. I know that high pressure is sitting on us right now. Going to be very dry, not really cloud in sight, but we are going to be feeling chilly. That high tomorrow only reaching about 23. That temperature low about 11. Going into our weekend, it's going to put a little damper on it, but make sure that it'll still brighten your day with those partly sunny skies. Going into this weekend, definitely going to be colder. Friday is looking like that, like I said, that high of about 23, that low of about 11. Saturday, that mostly sunny skies are going to be sticking around with that high of about 40, that low of 31. Sunday, that warm up that we're so desperately needing. Sunday's looking about 30, that low of about the high of about 50, that low of about 30. Going into our 7-day outlook, those clouds are going to be sticking around for most of our week. Going into Monday, partly sunny, that high still sticking about 50, low of 35. Tuesday is when those showers are going to be starting. So going to be about 57 on Tuesday, that low of 36. Going Wednesday, those chances showers are still sticking, but that high is going to be 54, low of 37. Thursday, 55, that low of 32. Definitely that warm up that we're so desperately needing. I know going into yesterday we were feeling really cold. Now tomorrow definitely going to be way colder, but that warm-up's on the way. I know Punxsutawney's Phil was talking about those 6 more weeks of winter, but we're going to feel that warm-up going into the rest of next week. Definitely going to be looking a lot like winter in Ohio. So those mostly cloudy skies definitely might put a damper on us. I know this weekend I'm going to have some big plans, so those mostly cloudy skies towards the end of it are going to feel a little bit of a damper on that end of the weekend. Now, let's go back to the desk.
It seems like for a while we have been avoiding winter weather, but it seems like the last few days it's starting to come back in.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we've been avoiding it for a while, that it's inevitable it's going to come soon, but I'm going to personally keep avoiding it. I'm actually going to travel a little warmer next week, but I'm hoping my flight doesn't get canceled.
Oh, I hope so. Definitely been looking like that might happen for you guys. Travel at the U.S. airports grind to a halt as severe winter weather continues to battle at least 8 states from West Virginia to Texas. According to flight data, nearly 1,200 flights were canceled yesterday and more than 700 today, with American Airlines and Southwest both reporting the highest number of flight cancellations. The airports experiencing the bulk of cancellations are Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth International, Dallas Love Field, and August Bergstrom International. And this storm doesn't stop there, because this Arctic blast is placing millions of people under warnings in the Northeast.
Yes, I saw the National Weather Service called this storm an epic generational cold front.
That's right. Isabel Rosales brings us the timeline for when the dangerous weather will pass.
Maine to northeast Pennsylvania bracing for wind chills, falling as far as minus 50 degrees or more, according to a National Weather Service forecast. Frigid temperatures and powerful winds, gusts forecasted to blast up to 40 miles an hour.
If people are outside in weather that is extremely cold, below 20 degrees, frostbite sets in very quickly and you can die.
A whopping 15 million people expected to be under severe cold warnings across the region through Saturday.
The important fact is going to be remaining indoors this weekend if at all possible. This is a great reason to stay home and maybe watch Netflix.
The Weather Service predicts the Arctic assault will move out relatively quickly by Sunday afternoon. Unlike the relentless ice storm that's been pummeling the south and central U.S. for most of this week.
And so, trees are falling with all the ice.
Forecasters say warmer temperatures arrive by late Thursday, but ice over neighborhoods will take a while to thaw out. Lights out. Over 500,000 people are still without power from Texas to Tennessee, tracked by Power Outage US. And melting roads could remain slick and dangerous as rain continues in several areas through Thursday evening. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Experts predict more delays due to the storm are expected into the weekend. Today, we have tips to help feel like you are not relieving the same day coming back. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
When I was a kid, Hogan was the place to be.
Time changed, man.
It was like a dark cloud. Everything went to welting away and stuff. But now, you can see a little light.
There's only one way tonight. That's a different way tonight. I'm ready for football, bro.
Since they've been winning, the pride is coming back.
We moving into a different place in this town. 2, 3,
Out of the Muck, Monday, February 6th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, which of these treasures do you think is the coolest?
I love that you said that, because nobody says cool when they talk about pottery.
Oh, I know.
This is one of the sexier male costumes because there's something very sexy about
a guy in this kind of a jumpsuit.
They were just lying for a really long time in my grandma's attic.
Find out more Next time on Antiques Roadshow from Santa Fe's Museum Hill.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Why Chillicothe? Why this area? For some reason, this became a mecca for what was probably a religion, what we call Hopewell culture. We'll never know the reason that this was so important to certain people and why that developed, but it's certainly a beautiful place for it to have happened.
We're looking at 6 more weeks of winter, at least according to Punxsutawney Phil. But did you know there's a thing called Groundhog Day syndrome?
I didn't, and it may not be an official medical diagnosis, but it's the term some use to describe the feeling that you're reliving the same day over and over again. Mandy Gaither has more.
If you only had one day to live, what would you do with it?
Made popular by Hollywood, the idea of Groundhog Day syndrome is simple. It feels like each day is the same. You're reliving it over and over again.
Although it's not a psychological diagnosis, it is a feeling that is familiar to many.
Cleveland Clinic psychologist Susan Alber says when we do the same things over again, we can get bored. You may even feel trapped.
We get used to our environment and we start tuning it out. On the upside, this helps our brain to relax. We don't have to focus on everything. The downside is that we no longer experience things in the same way. It becomes less vivid and exciting.
Alber says breaking the boring cycle starts with being mindful. Each day, be present, both mentally and physically.
Feel, taste, touch. Look at that experience as if you are doing it for the very first time.
It's about waking up your mind. So Albert says try new things, meet new people, go to a different restaurant, taste a new food, learn a new skill, try a different hobby, or take a trip somewhere you haven't been.
When we do new activities for the very first time, it triggers new neural pathways in our brain. It forms new connections. That's what leaves these lasting and vivid memories.
Breaking out of the norm can help you break out of your rut.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Albert says our brains love routines, so keep those routines, but add in new twists.
She says whatever you're into, just change it up just a little. Will go a long way. Now, Isabel, Punxsutawney Phil says there's 6 more weeks of winter, but I know I'm dying to know when we will see some warmer weather.
I know, definitely. These next couple of days, we're not going to be feeling it, but maybe going into next week, those 50s definitely going to be feeling a little bit warmer.
Thanks, Isabel. And finally tonight, happy almost 219th birthday, Ohio University. School is inviting all Bobcats to wish Ohio a happy Founders Day in February 18th in a fun competition. You can get creative and submit your birthday messages in forms of pictures, videos, birthday cakes, and more. From today through February 17th, you can post your submission on the Bobcat Network with hashtag Happy Birthday Ohio. On Founders Day, 1 alumni and 1 student will be selected. Each winner will have their work featured on the Founders Day website and win their own birthday celebration.
Well, happy birthday, Ohio University, am I right? It's coming up soon.
Absolutely. The oldest public university in the Northwest Territory, 1804 it was founded.
That's incredible. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Emma Dollamere.
And I'm Joe Collins. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Snyder Strode Jarrett Financial in Athens, providing investment and retirement planning assistance to Southeast Ohio for over 50 years. Snyder Strode Jarrett, not